come from Rolling Thunder National to be able to speak a few things about what he's working on. Gus Dante, Rolling Thunder National Board member, working tirelessly on government affairs in Gulf War, Iraq, Afghanistan, and POW MIA matters. And we're privileged that he gave us a few minutes from all of his other things working on Rolling Thunder. So, Mr. Gus?
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank National Alliance and Janelle and Nicolette for inviting me back again this year. I just want to give you a rough, quick idea of what the Rolling Thunder Inc. National is doing with legislation. And I want to thank my buddy Roger Hall. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be here at the mic. Hi, Roger.
Don't take revenge on me for it.
That's right. I learned a lot from you. I learned how to talk to those staffers that don't know. They call POW powwow or what? Anyway, we have legislation to fly the POW flag over the United States Capitol and the White House and all federal buildings. The title is to amend Title 36 United States Code to require that the POW MIA flag be displayed on all days that the flag of the United States displayed on certain federal property. That includes the White House. Artie Muller and I put this into progress in the 115th Congress and it didn't go anywhere. I tried to get a bill in the Senate from my old New Jersey senators and they didn't have time. So we got into the 116th and Elizabeth Warren. You could feel what you think about her, but she's always there for the POW issue. She's the one that was instrumental of us getting the POW MIA chair after Obama signed it into legislation in the Emancipation Hall of the United States Capitol. And she spoke with Artie and I and our Rolling Thunder board privately after the ceremonies, and she said she would continue to push the POW issue for us, regardless what you see on TV and how people feel. We don't care. Well, she supports the issue, and that's what it's all about. So on May 3rd, the House bill S-693 was pushed through the Senate by her and her legal counsel. It was put through and passed. No one disputed it without amendments and unanimous consent, and went right to the House floor. So we have the House bill is H.R. 1597 by Pappas out of New Hampshire. We're trying to get that bill passed, and the bill is held in. I can't believe how they could change committees titles, and it's held in the subcommittee of Constitution, Civil Rights, and Civil Liberties. That's where this bill is held. And the chairman of that committee is Steve Cohen. He's a representative from Tennessee, so I'm going to have the Tennessee chapters pound his office, whether they're constituents or not, to move it out of that committee. And Nadler from New York is the chair. See for luck. Yes, do the same thing. And he's the chair of the judiciary. I mean, we're having a hard time with a lot of legislation unless we pull. And on the other side of that coin, we have Elizabeth Warren pushing that, and I'm constantly working. And I want to give a shout out to Massachusetts too, who I let them take the lead on it because Warren is their constituent. I got to give credit where credit's due. And I told Michelle, who's president of Massachusetts too, that we'll support, help you. You take the lead on that. We had a chance with our representative who got beat, Republican got beat in the last primary. I says, if she's going to do it, let her do it. She swore she would do it, and she swears that. She says, mark my words, her own words, Elizabeth Warren, that this bill will pass and the flag will be flying. Her brother flew missions in Vietnam, Elizabeth Warren. So she had a bunch of brothers that served in the military. And when she came to Artie and I, Roger was there when we did the chair, when they dedicated. That woman had tears in her eyes. She actually had tears in her eyes because she was so emotional about that. And you can ask Artie Mullen, you know Artie's a hard ass, excuse my French. But he still, you know, couldn't believe it, you know. So you don't know how to take all this stuff, but I don't care, as long as they pass the issue with the POWs. So anyway, we do have to work on the House bill, and I'm going to direct the chapters to concentrate on the committees at the judiciary and get it passed. There's another bill that a chief of staff called me from Congressman Maloney of New York, and this is HR 255. This is new. It's underpayment of our American Korean War POWs, Never Forgotten Korean War POW Act, to retroactively eliminate the unique and abruptly 3 months limited on combat pay establishing for combat pay for the United States military. 1952, it was brought into law, and it didn't allow the POWs, the North Korean POWs, to be paid for more than 3 months. This bill, you know, there's not too many left. I met this gentleman last night, and they're trying to pass this bill to that were these POWs that were in prison to get due what they got coming to them. They only got 3 months, which, you know, typical thing with our government. And we're working on. They only got one co-sponsor to date, and I'm going to be working with. You know, the committee will be working with this organization to see if these POWs can get that passed. Then the other resolution we have is sponsored by Representative Jimmy Panetta, Democrat of California, for the Full Military Honors Act for those who are ex-POWs, regardless of the rank, to be buried with full honors. That always, I never looked into that, and it really got to me when I says, my God, these guys did the ultimate sacrifice. Some died in prison camps, and they find their remains, and they don't have military honors. That's just bugged the hell out of me. Well, there's legislation to provide the military honors, prisoners of war, heroes, the recognition regardless of the rank they deserve for their unwavering services to our country. Full military honors, that ceremonies remain us of the services, the valor and demonstration of those who have defended, protected, and sacrificed for freedom and democracy. Referred to the subcommittee of the military personnel. And I think, to read my writing. 123 co-sponsors. That's from last year. This bill was last year. We had a Republican in Michigan who ran it. He got beat, and so this Democrat from California picked the bill up. I'm working with this lady, this guy, her staffer. So the one I just told you about the Korean, I said, I want you to do me a favor. Your boss is on the committee of the armed services. I says, we'll help you with the co-sponsors. Just like a typical New York, gangster trying to make. I said, see if you can have your boss move this bill out. It's time that this bill gets passed. That they get full military honors. So hopefully, that's the last straw. That's what you got to do. That's the way I do it. So, Rolling Thunder. I guess you all heard that. Let me see there. Oh, this girl I'm going to be talking, she's a chief of staff of, her name is Catherine Sorensen, and she's a chief of staff for Maloney, so she's going to help on that bill for HR 255. I just want to tell everybody, and you all know that this is our last year down here in D.C. Everybody has mixed emotions, all our guys, but the POW MIA issue will continue in the local areas, okay? Talking to Joe Beam and Artie and in the board, we're trying to work up a deal where, like the states, talked to a guy from North Carolina, Paul, he's a liaison, they already planned it already. They got something going with the three states for next Memorial Day. And they do a hell of a job. They got great chapters down there. So nobody will be forgotten. believe me, not as long as I'm alive and Arnie alive. I don't know how much longer that'll be, but we will continue to push and promote the POW issue. And we also continue to other legislation for veterans, the young warriors. And we have to remember them guys too, because I know there's a lot of controversy. I've talked to a lot of these young mothers with their sons killed in Afghanistan and in Iraq. She's telling me these stories. I said, it was the same way when we came back with the World War II veterans. Yeah, I had to get in the back room or something. She was at a meeting and she told these guys to pull up the VFW's guys that were from Vietnam showed up with these young warriors, and they left the meeting. I said, well, that's bold. I says, we're all comrades in arms, whether you're from World War II or these new kids that are fighting. And there's a lot of kids committing suicide, and Vietnam guys are still committing suicide. We gotta take care of them. Gotta make sure we know what's going on. So, outside of that, we'll continue, and I just wanted to tell you, I took a survey last year. I was telling Janelle, some guy asked me, Gus, how many chairs Rolling Thunder has dedicated throughout the country? 1,000, you know, and I was wrong as usual. So I said, I always shoot from the hip, and I started inquiring about it. I says, Joe Beam, I'm gonna send out a memo. I'm gonna send out, and everybody start coming in, shooting. We have a total of 495 chairs throughout the country, which I thought was fabulous, and they consist of stadium chairs and the regular chairs that are placed inside the building, and also benches. I've never seen these I think it's Virginia, I'm not sure. I think Virginia chapter, and he sent me a picture of these black marble benches, just gorgeous. And there's all kinds of designs you can make to honor our veterans in all different, POWs in all different ways. And so we had 40, and I wanted to point out too, and I told Rosalie, Rosalie Robinson is from Delaware. I don't know if you heard that name. She has dedicated or responsible or setting up planning over 29 chairs in the state of Delaware to advocate the POW-MIA. And she's working on a chair, and that one I want to go to, at Dover Air Force Base where our fallen come in. And she's working on that, and that'll be a great day. And I said, I guarantee we'll have Rolling Thunder guys down here. I said, you got to put us up though, you know, and nobody has any money anymore. And she laughed, and she does a hell of a job, and I just want that to go on record. Patrick Hughes is a good friend. I don't know if Patrick's not here. He's a good friend of hers, and I just want to make sure she gets a shout out, because there are a lot of people, a lot of other organizations, not only Rolling Thunder, that really feel about the POW, and that's what we have to do and continue to do. I just want to thank everybody for listening to me today. Thank you very much.
Gus, what was John Kerry's reaction to Warren's establishment of the chair? And did John McCain also vote for that legislation, or did he vote against it?
No. He didn't. I'll tell you that story too. Good thing you mentioned John McCain. No, he didn't vote for it. Senator Rubio, Republican, supported right from day one as he did this flag. When John McCain passed away, they moved that chair to the center, and that really got everybody upset. You've probably seen it on the media and news. And I get home from where I was, and I get an email from the architect of the Capitol and Lynch's office stating, and I said, what the hell is that chair moved? And he says, Gus, don't get excited. We're going to move it back. It's in honor of John McCain. I says, and I told the Lynch's office, I says, he never did anything for the POW issue. Never did anything. And they, what? Yes, that's right. And that was, and they moved it back, and I had Ann Gibbs, she works at the Canadian Embassy. Ann, get over there, you got a lot of time, go check and make sure that chair's back. And she goes, Jesus, you're wearing me out. So she went back, she said, the chair's back in place. Okay, that's all I want to know. I don't care, that's done, forget about it. But nobody did forget about it. A lot of Vietnam veterans were on my Facebook page. When it was posted, I didn't post that, but they were saying, what the hell is going on with that chair? He never gave a damn. You know, it got a lot of hits, about 240 people were really disappointed, especially Vietnam veterans.
Now you also mentioned Representative Cohen from Memphis. Now you're going to go to have him support some legislation, but he's the same moron that said that Strzok should get a Purple Heart for testifying before the Congress with regard to,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
the.
You're absolutely right. And when I was writing, I said, that's the same. You were very nicely with the words.
Yeah.
I used different.
As a New Yorker, I use words.
Yeah, that's it. But you're absolutely right. But yeah, that's where these guys are coming from. That's where they're coming from. And I don't know, is he? Yeah, he's been in the Congress, but I wanted to point out we have 89 freshmen that were elected in the new Congress, and it's the youngest and the more diversified representatives, and we are trying to educate them with the POW/MI issue. It's a tough haul, and you know there's a couple there, Omar and a couple AOC from our hometown up there, and I mean they do not have a clue, and it's up to us to educate them. And so I'm going to start by telling the chapters, like we used to do in the old days, present to the boss a POW/MIA flag to fly outside the building. As you notice in all the controversy, and I don't care what they do, you know, with the I call them transistor, and the LBG they call them, flags flying out there, and everybody went berserk. And I said, no, something going berserk. I called the office, and I called Waxman's office, and I talked to the staff. She says, Gus, there never was a POW flag out here. I said, well, what's the story with the transgender flag? You need a POW flag? She says, well, we could fly it inside. I said, well, and I was just blowing smoke. I said, it's the law that you fly the flag outside the office. I learned later, it's the responsibility of that individual in the office and the office manager what flag flies outside other than the American flag. And so that's why, from the other side, like you're mentioning, we still got to keep promoting, and the next conference, that's what we're going to try and do, present flags to these people, POW flags.
Right now, in this legislation with the Carolyn Maloney, that the POWs from Korea only got 3 months pay.
Yes, yeah.
Will the descendants or the estate of the deceased POWs get the back pay for those POWs? I mean, that's a tall order, but those families are entitled for the suffering
Exactly.
of those men.
Yes, exactly. That was one of the questions I put towards the Kathleen Sorensen, and yeah, Kathleen Sorensen, yeah. They're all new names to me, man. I got somebody, and that's one of the things I put to them, is that retroactive to the family members. I mean, what the hell? The guy's passed away, and we'll get back to you. We'll get back to you. And you got to keep on them. And I try to tell these new kids that are helping us with, because I'm going to bail out at after the conference and turn it over to Mike Wolf, who's bright. He's a combat warrior from the Iraqi War. And he's a smart kid. I take him to the hill and just let him go. He's a well-spoken individual, you know. And but yeah, you got to keep pounding. I tell these chapters, you can't. And I learned that from Roger Hall. I said you can't make one phone call and expect them to get on it. You can't send one email and expect an answer. You got to pound them and pound them and pound them. And then if they don't answer, you start copying the chief of staff and the person that you're handling, the military advisor, and always copy the chief of staff. Because you got to keep on it. It's not easy.
Perseverance, that's the answer.
That's it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else? Good. Thank you very much.
And because it's weird to coin two at the same time. So we made 2 coins this year. One is the 3rd-year anniversary for the Alliance, and the other one is actually a thank you coin for all the years of Rolling Thunder and the Alliance being together. So we wanted to make sure that you got both coins.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it very much. Great organization. Keep going.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Gus.